So through this releasing that you're doing with people, you're trying to get them to understand that they're more than just the emotion that they're feeling?
Well, I'm not so much trying to get them to understand anything, but that's often what happens. The purpose of releasing is just to help people feel better and to teach people a tool so they can help themselves feel better. But yes, what often happens when people have a release on a feeling that they've assumed was chronic, they realize that maybe this story that they tell themselves about this feeling, this chronic feeling that they say they feel all the time, maybe it's not necessarily true, but that's not something that works very well, at least in my experience, to try to convince somebody of. It's not something where we're trying to help them be rational, because that's the body mind doesn't operate that way. The feelings and chemicals are happening whether the mind's being rational or not. You're reminding me that I'm going to be offering a workshop pretty soon for therapists called Beyond the Story, The Truth Beyond the Thinking Brain and Even the Diagnosis. And what I want to do is help therapists help their clients. Again, we'll learn some of these releasing techniques, but unfortunately, at least in my opinion, our culture and our profession kind of helps clients stay stuck in their stories, because the thinking brain, and obviously we're in our culture and so we all have thinking brains, the thinking brain can only process a small portion of the information that's in the unconscious. And so the thinking brain, as we've evolved, has gotten very good at only picking out the important parts, only picking out the highlights and filtering out the rest, and then makes up a story about the parts that it pulls out for convenience sake, and to kind of try to compartmentalize things. But the reason this releasing works, and the reason people who think they are afraid and feel it all over, the reason that this works is because we're getting the thinking brain out of the way for long enough to see what else is going on. And so people are able to experience for themselves firsthand that there's more going on than what they think is going on, more going on than what the thinking brain is doing. So in this workshop, what I hope to do is offer therapists some of these techniques so they can help their clients and help themselves, because it's not just our clients, we're all this way. You know, we as therapists who have been to therapists, or maybe we haven't, know what it's like to get ready to go to a therapist. You're going to spend your money, you want to get your money's worth, so you kind of find yourself sometimes, at least I did, maybe not everybody does this, but I sure did, you find yourself kind of rehearsing what you want to say. You want to be able to tell your story. This is the problem that I have, this is why I think I have it, for some reason I'm stuck and I can't fix it, you know, blah blah blah. Those are all functions of the thinking brain. And you know, the thinking brain does this thing. It's kind of like dangles a carrot in front of us that says something like, if you use me and we sit in the corner and think about this thing long enough, we'll come up with a solution that's satisfying, and then you're going to feel better. But it almost never happens. I mean, you know this is true in your own experience. When you find yourself thinking about something, you're hoping that if you think about it, you're going to come up with a new solution. But most of the time what we do is just rehearse the same old thoughts we had about it. And the reason that happens is that the thinking brain is responding and coming up with the thoughts that it has in response to the unconscious energy or emotional energy or belief energy that we have around the topic. The topic has triggered some emotional energy somewhere in there, and the brain is feeding off the feeling that we may or may not be so aware of. But that's and so the brain is not going to think up anything new as long as it's being fed by the same energetic state. If you can use the thinking brain, give it a good job instead of one that's just going to, run you in circles in a hole. Put the brain to good use and use it to access the body mind and ask the body mind, what does my body say? about this topic? What does my body say about this issue? And let that inform the thinking brain as to what's really going on. And then if you can let those feelings come up and be released, then you can think differently. You can think clearly, but you can't come up with new ideas in the same energy. Einstein said something like that. Oh, I don't know, something like you can't come up with a new solution if you're using the same brain that you've been to look at the problem. And I'm probably taking liberties with what he said, but the point is that when you're in the energy of the problem, when you think of the problem and your body mind goes into the energy of the problem, you're only going to have thoughts and not going to be able to think beyond that energy. But when you can release the energy and release the feelings, that oh shoot, that solution was there all the time, and I couldn't even see it. I was so close to it I couldn't see it.